mental mastery, I lie in shorts.
Aha! We've come back to another short. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Not in the religious sense, but if you are offended, good. What was that saying? He who is easily offended is easily controlled and or manipulated. Imagine being offended. Imagine in 2025 choosing to be offended. I'm going to be offended. Yes. I want to talk today about, because I'm Canadian, psychedelics. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. Actually, a girlfriend of mine has gone down south, and she's doing a really cool ayahuasca retreat / experiment. Experience, not experiment. Well, maybe it's an experiment. I don't know. And to me, I think to myself, like, this is really cool. But what's been running through my head lately, not just for her, but it came back up because she's doing this. But what's been running through my head lately is this idea that psychedelics just aren't the same as what they used to be. And so a completely other random friend, she sent me a meme about one of those, whatever the girl is that talks to ChatGPT in her posts, and she's gone viral for it. The question was, everything's being hijacked. Yeah, and her thing was, okay, tell me why the radio is being hijacked or that sort of thing. And, but in the list was psychedelics. Psychedelics are being hijacked. And I thought, shit, that resonates with me. Like, that was one of those aha moments. This is what I've been talking about. Psychedelics have been hijacked. When I was a kid, when I was but a wee young grasshopper, I did acid for the very first time at 15. And like I said, every single spiritual person I know and soul healer or whatever you want to call it, whatever label you feel like putting on things, that'll probably be the next short, actually, is labels on people. But whatever spiritual shit that's going on with regards to psychedelics now didn't exist back then. So when we did it, we were just dumb kids. And so, do you want some LSD? Do you want some acid? How the hell we got our hands on acid at 15, I don't know. But, at 15... you truly believe that you're like super old and mature and you understand things and all sorts of crap like that. I didn't know nothing. I went to a Fugazi concert at Porter Hall in Carleton University. First time I was on acid. It's wild. But I had no expectations. I didn't know what it was, really. I didn't know. People were like, oh, you'll just get high for 8 hours. I'm like, okay, well, what's that all about? And so I did it a few more times after that. And then just decided it wasn't for me. Like, the demons turned on me or whatever. And the last few times I had close to a bad trip. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Je m'en pas. And so I didn't. But I got the message too. And Alan Watts, one of his greatest quotes of all time is, psychedelics, much like the telephone. Once you've gotten the message, hang up the phone. And for me, I feel I had gotten the message. Granted, I still do like psychedelic mushrooms. It's been a long time since I've had them. But I remember when I was a kid too, or very, very much a younger adult, I said, I'll quit everything eventually, but I'll probably never quit mushrooms. And that doesn't mean I'll do them all the time. It just means, I don't know, it just means it's the one that I don't mind. Because it serves a purpose. If you're not doing them to get high, if you're doing them for self-actuation, there's something to it. But here's where it gets hijacked. And this was the thing. So I asked ChatGPT. Yes, I know, talking to Skynet. But I asked it and I said, hey, look, this is what I'm thinking. I feel that when we were doing it as kids, it's different than it is now. But I can't quite put my finger on it. So he gets back to me, or it gets back to me, or the chat bot, or whatever the hell. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator 2000, gets back to me, and he says, T1000, sorry, to all of those people that love correcting. He gets back to me, it gets back to me, chat gets back to me, and says, of course it's been hijacked, right? Because now it is all over the social medias. It's all over everything. It's an identity marker. I am a shaman. I am this. I am that. And I think to myself, okay, I understand. And this is, we'll talk about this in another short, but identity markers are everywhere. It's how we identify ourselves when we don't have any tangible way to do it. So we make up a story about who we are. But this is one of those things that I had to explain to her, because ayahuasca is a hell of a lot heavier than a few other things. And how it's being hijacked is everyone's got this preconceived notion. I am a shaman. I am a guru. Here is what you're going to experience. Here is how it plays out. Here is what's going to happen. And go into it with no intentions and do this and do that. And this person's telling you how to do all these things. So now instead of just blindly going in like I did, and the people of my ilk did and generation did, now people are going in with the preconceived notion or a built up something or an influence of something on social media. And we all know that everything on social media is wrong. It's a lie. It's false. Even though it's masqueraded as and painted as beauty and kind and peace. You have this expectation. And what psychedelics are going to do to you is show you exactly what you need to see, especially deep ones like ayahuasca. And if you're not healed, prepared, rested, in a healthy gut mind, heart mind, it could mess with you. If you're not prepared for the truth, if you're somebody who's connected to cognitive dissonance, it could mess with you. So I say this because even our psychedelics have been hijacked. The idea of all of these things, which were once pure, are now an identity marker or an image creator or somebody else's image. The worst thing you could do is go in with somebody else's experience, quote unquote, or somebody else's teachings into a thing like this and be like, oh shit, this is going to be problematic because this isn't me. And it can mess you up, especially when you're inside that. So I don't know why I'm really talking about this, but it just sort of really struck a chord with me on psychedelics. And I think to myself, this is just nuts that psychedelics has been hijacked, and the idea of it has been hijacked, and the idea of your own evolution has been hijacked. It's actually not nuts when you think about it, because everything's been hijacked and everything's slightly askew to keep you off center. So even the one thing that can bring you right back down to center has been hijacked. Actually, just kind of follows suit. It tracks, but it's still absurd. And so I don't really know where I'm going with this, other than the fact that it was just such a fascinating revelation to be like, holy juniper, this is legitimately a thing. My own psychedelic experience, my own trip into myself can be hijacked, and ideas can be put in there based on what other people are doing, seeing, et cetera, et cetera. And if you listen to any of these shamans, if you listen to any of these people, if you listen to any of the people guiding you or talking to you, they sound pure. And I'm not saying they have any ill intention, none whatsoever. But just like every last healer I've ever met came through chaos to get here, that chaos becomes the base of their healing. And you're not here to heal their issues and their experiences. And they're not going to tell you what you're going to feel. They're going to remind you of what they felt the last time they did it and what they experienced. And it's different for everybody else. And so when you lose a piece of yourself by dealing with a shaman or a guru or whatever, and you go into a psychedelic journey, it has been completely hijacked and it's no longer your experience. It needs to go back to being your experience. Ladies and gentlemen, do as much research as you can before doing any of these drugs. I shouldn't say drugs, I should say medicinal purposes. Do all your research and trust your gut, but do not follow anybody else's expectations of who and what and where you should be, what you should be doing, where you should be. None of that shit. Absolutely irrelevant. The only thing that you should follow from a shaman is his footsteps to physically get to the plant-based medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening.